guys, it's me, Melissa Marie, and I'm so excited because I have a great video for you today. So we're gonna jump right in. These crafts are all gonna end up in my kitchen. So hopefully this will be a sneak peek of how I wanna set up my coffee bar, and hopefully that video will be upcoming soon. As always, thank you so much for watching, and let's jump right in.
With this first project, I'm actually using these Dollartree candles, melting them down, and I'm going to turn it into like a cup of coffee with whipped cream on top. I've seen a few people do this. I've seen Glue Guns and Roses, I believe, and Chic on the Cheap. But anyway, I believe it took about 45 minutes to an hour. I originally had it in a smaller pan or a smaller pot. That didn't work. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I should say that. So I switched to the larger pot. But once it was in there, it was fine. Here I am trying to scoop out the wick with a straw. I need better tools. But I do have my hot gloves on. I forget what those are called. My oven mitts. Because this is very, very hot, so you have to be careful. Now, the part that I forgot was these are scented wax melts from Dollar Tree as well. I believe I was supposed to put that in during the last few minutes of the melting process, and I forgot. So I tried to put it in once it was already finished, but I had to put it back on the heat or back in that hot water. So that's what I'm doing here. This is going to give the candle a nice scent. It's actually caramel. And so to me, that's like a coffee-ish, type of scent you would expect from this. And as you see here, it did give it color as well. Now, I was hoping it would kind of stay in that coffee family color, but you'll see once the wax starts to dry, it's gonna change colors. So that's something to keep in mind if you're doing this. I found these old chopsticks, and I was like, this would be perfect to hold the wick in place while the wax is drying. And so I'm kind of just struggling to keep it at the bottom, but eventually I did get it. And then we're going to see here, as I was mentioning, that once dry, I don't know, is that the word dry? I think so. Once hardened, the wax has gotten significantly lighter. But to me, it looks like a very creamy cup of coffee, so I'm still liking it. I'm still loving it here. And then I never took out of the water. So it still has warmth to it. It's still malleable. It's not completely solid yet. So I'm going to start to figure out how I can get this scooped out of that container, that glass container, and into the top of this candle to look like whipped cream. And because of the consistency, it really does look like some type of whipped up cream. So it really came out really nice. I was very happy with it. And we'll just see how it finishes off here. I will say that I'm jumping ahead, but I did add real cinnamon seasoning to the top of this. I thought it would give it like a flair. I was a little underwhelmed by how that looked. Maybe I think I put too much. You're about to see it here shortly. And so what I decided to do was kind of lock it in with some of that leftover wax. I just put it back on the fire, and that last candle has some more wax on the sides. Once I melted that down, I kind of just sealed in the cinnamon because I started to get concerned that since it is an actual food that like mildew might happen or something. I wasn't sure. So I was like, let me just kind of seal it in. But I love how this looks. To me, this is so cute. It does look like a cup of coffee with a lot of whipped cream. Got your cinnamon on top, a little too much. So here I am taking that extra little wax and just trying to sealing that in there because I was like, I don't want any mold. I don't want any issues. And so that is project 1. I do love it. I have not burned it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that soon. Here is project number 2. Now, do you guys notice something here? So you'll see here throughout this process, I'm just going to try to sand off the glitter. I love the cutting board shape. I love this sign. I love how it looks like it's worn on the sides. It has like that shiplap effect. I love everything about it except for all the little glitter. So I was like, let me get off the glitter and just go over this word because I believed that it said blessed beyond measure. I did not realize until the end of this project that it says blessed beyond measure. So I guess instead of the N there, they put a U by accident. This is all from Dollar Tree. I don't think Dollar Tree usually makes mistakes like that, but unless that's supposed to be an N, but to me it doesn't look like an N. So you will see how I correct that after the entire project is finished, because I didn't realize until that point. Now, which also shows how powerful our minds are, because my mind literally read blessed beyond measure because I know I'm familiar with that saying. So that's what I read every single time. But maybe that's an N. Maybe you see an N. I don't. I see a U. So I will correct that so that there's no question mark at the end of this project, like I said. The only thing I did with this was I just took off the glitter, went over it so it was still bold, and then I put a little bow on it. Got this ribbon from Dollar Tree, snipped it on the ends. I actually did one of the ends the wrong way at first. The first end I got right. You'll see here. Cut it. I think they call it dovetail. So I just took the piece there, I folded it, and then I snipped it, and that one was right. It's my first time ever doing it, and it was right. When I did this one, I did not do it right the first time, but I did it again, and it was correct here. So as you're seeing it, it's right here. So all I'm going to do is tie this around the neck of this just to add a little something extra. I also considered adding a flower, as you'll see here shortly. But then I felt like maybe the flower was too much. And then I also felt like maybe it just didn't match because there are already sunflowers on the board. And obviously this orange flower is not a sunflower. So I decided to do without it. But looking back on it, I think it was kind of cute. So I don't know if maybe I'll add a flower in the future, but for now I just left it as is. And now I'm about to show you how I corrected the issue. So I took some acetone and some Q-tips, and I actually did I superimposed the word beyond on my phone with this. I might put a little snip of what I'm showing you, what I mean. And I realized the only difference is that the curve was at the bottom instead of at the top. I mean, maybe that was common sense, but my mind couldn't figure out what would be the easiest way. So once I saw them next to each other, I was able to correct it. So I just used the acetone to remove the bottom curve, and then I hand drew the curve at the top. It looks a little strange, but I think it still looks like it looks like freestyle writing in the first place. So I think it came out pretty cute. All right, here's our next project. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking these tumbler blocks and I'm just trying to fit them into the bottom of this tray, because this tray is from my coffee bar in the kitchen, and I want to have this wooded base on the tray. I don't know why, I just want to add that element to that tray. These are all from Dollar Tree. So what I'm doing is, once I had the design fitted to make sure that it would fit correctly in there, I'm starting to glue everything together. I'm using a combination of wood glue and hot glue. And this time I did decide to bring in a straight edge so that it would be as straight as possible, because the last time I used these, I struggled with making things straight. So I just glued them in sets of 3 at first just to make it easier. And then I connected each little group of 3 together to make that first level of the project. I did a little sanding along the way, but I think that was mainly to get rid of some of the extra hot glue. And then this middle piece was designed a little bit differently, and I did the same thing, a mixture of hot glue and wood glue. And this one I did not do in 3s because of how everything was set up, so I just glued those little 3 blocks together first, and then I would just add it on to the main part. And then when that was finished, I did the last level, which was all straight across like the first one. And then when that was finished, I put all 3 of them together. again with wood and hot glue. Okay, so here it is all assembled, and as you can see, it's not exactly perfect, but it's pretty good. This part right here, I think in my mind I was trying to seal everything, even though there will be no liquid really per se on this. I think that's what I was thinking when I spread all this glue on it, but very quickly I'm like, this is a lot of glue. It's not something that's gonna like melt into the wood like that. So I did kind of wipe it off with a baby wipe, and then I just sanded it in. And then I'm using this painter's tape to kind of hold it together in place while it truly dries overnight. Now here it is the next day. I'm removing the painter's tape, and this is how it came out. Like I said, it's not exactly even. You can see on the little side there, but when you put it in this pan, I think it looks really cute. It gives the tray, I should say, not pan. It gives the tray a little character, and I'm excited to use this back in my coffee bar with this new wood element as a part of it. All right, now we're moving on to the next project. This project should have been easy, and I think I made it harder than it needed to be, but I found this board, as you can see, it's like for the first day of school at Dollartree, and I decided to cover it in this vinyl. I don't have a Cricut. I know these are for Cricuts, but they're adhesive on the back already, but I decided to use this Eileen's tacky glue because I heard it was a really good adhesive, and I just wanted this to stay really tight. So I used that first, and then I went ahead and I added this on here as a covering for this. Like I said, this should have been easy, but I think I overthought it, and what I had in mind, I was not able to really do. I think what I would probably do in the future is find it's for my coffee bar, and I feel like I would have found actual stickers or window clings or something that was already pre-printed. But you'll see once I get this laid out and I get this board cover, I decide to go more manual method or a manual route where I'm just gonna have to show you. So what I'm doing here though is sticking it down to my board. Apparently that's a foam board underneath all of this, and it's just for the not to ruin the table, I guess, is why I have it there. But yeah, it's stuck to that and ripped it up, which is fine. And then I just cut off the excess that was attached to it, and then folded it over, glued it down, and fully covered the board. And I'm just constantly wiping off that excess glue with the baby wipe, because I obviously put way too much. And again, I don't even think it was needed necessarily, because this does have an adhesive on the back, and apparently the adhesive is quite strong if it ripped that off the poster board there. But I was trying to be safe. All right, so once this is all set up, I'm going to show you what I was talking about. Whereas in the future, I probably would just get stickers or pre-printed something that already said coffee, So I printed this myself. And my idea was, I've seen people do this where you usually use pencil shading on the back, but that was a colored pencil. And then when you write on the front, it kind of copies itself onto whatever you're trying to, it transfers to what you're putting it on. Well, obviously I was putting it on vinyl, which you're not going to see the color come through. But it did leave an outline or an imprint to use as a guide to cut it out. I really wish I would have had maybe an X-Acto knife. It would have been easier because my cutting skills were not that sharp. So this is not perfectly neat, but I like it. And I'm excited to still go ahead and use it in my coffee, cocoa, and tea bar. I do plan on having a video about that once I update the bar. I did a video last year, so this will be an updated video. And yeah, I'm excited to use all these projects, but that is about it. I'm still getting used to crafting. I'm still learning. Trial and error is what seems to be happening, but that is okay. That's how we learn in life. And thank you so much for watching. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I'll see you in the next video.